Hi there. Today is Wednesday, May the 6th. Hopefully by now you have all picked up your third packet of work. We had our distribution this past Monday, and I was able to see some people as they came through to get lunches. I was handing out lunches from 11:30 to 12:30, so when they picked up their packets and then came to get their lunch, I was able to see a couple of kids from our class. But hopefully everyone by now has picked up their packets and have started working on them. There are 3 weeks of instruction in there. And if you look at kind of like the very bottom of the page, I think that's where it says like week 1, day 1. And so on there it tells you, there's maybe like 5 pages for each day or something like that. I had a parent ask me if she could staple each day's work together just to make it easier to keep track of. And that's perfectly fine if you want to do that. If not, you don't have to, but I just wanted to let you know it's in kind of some small print, but it says on there what week and what day that work is for. And so that work stretches us out to May 22nd, and I'll be letting you know, and of course there'll be a phone blast coming out of when those last packets will be due. Also, I had a parent email me and ask if they should keep working in their social studies and science workbooks, and yes, keep going through those. Try to finish them throughout these last weeks. I had planned if we came back to school for everybody to bring those back, and then we would kind of regroup and see who needed what, who needed to finish what and all that. But just try to go ahead and do that. Try to finish throughout these next several weeks. Whenever you have free time, try to get in that science and social studies time. Also, please do your Mother's Day scavenger hunt. This coming Sunday, May the 10th, is Mother's Day, and it's a time that we celebrate the mothers, the grandmothers, the aunts, any kind of mother figure that you have in your life. It's a time that you celebrate them and let them know how thankful you are. So make sure you do that scavenger hunt that Miss Ken sent you also. Parents, if y'all have any questions, or if the kids have any questions about these next few weeks of work, please don't hesitate to give me a call, email, text, whatever. Like always, I'm here to help. And I will be keeping you, I've had several ask about end of the year things. I will be keeping you updated with what me and the other kindergarten teachers decide to do as soon as I'll let you know. Of course, we have to, go along with what the district says and all that stuff, but we're definitely trying to come up with something special to do for the kids, or either to give the kids to celebrate the end of the year. We hate that it's going down like this. We hate that their kindergarten year is ending like this, but we want to try to make it as special as we can. So, all right, so for our read aloud today, we're going to read a book that is to celebrate Mother's Day, because like I said, that's coming up. So I'm going to read for you today A Chair for My Mother, and this is by Vera B. Williams. And if you look at the bottom right here, boys and girls, there's a medal. So this book is really special. It has won a medal before. It's won the Caldecott Honor Medal. A Chair for My Mother. Now, before Miss Ken starts reading this, I want you to know that there are a couple of sad parts in this book, but remember how we've talked about books can make you feel certain ways. And that's okay, because sometimes when we watch certain movies, they make us feel a certain way. I know whenever we talked about this in class, Sterling would always say that the movie Bolt, the part where the dog was lost and everything, it made her sad. And so she would always bring that up when we would talk about this in class. And so remember, Miss Ken told you that books can make you feel that same way. You can sometimes feel certain things when you're reading a book. It doesn't always have to be happy. It doesn't always have to be just giving you information. It can make you feel all kinds of different things. So just to give you a little warning, some parts of the book are sad, but overall it's a really good book. So listen up. A Chair for My Mother. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day, slide over so y'all can see. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually, Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often, she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All our other chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and we can start all over." That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full, Mama said. My mother brought me home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. So boys and girls, that's a connection to another book. That's a text-to-text connection. It talked about Goldilocks and the 3 bears there. The grandma made that connection. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her, and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. And there's their picture that Aunt Ida took of them all sitting in the chair. All right, boys and girls, so for our book for this week, A Chair for My Mother, I want you to make a connection. In this book, the family, the mom, the grandma, and the little girl, they worked together to all put their money in to fill up this jar. And they had a goal. They knew what they wanted to buy with all that money. They wanted to buy a big new chair for their family. So, in honor of Mother's Day this coming Sunday, I want you to think about your mom or think about your grandma or think about that special woman in your life that helps you all the time, that you love so much, that you're very thankful for. And it could be more than one person. So I want you to think about if you could save up a whole bunch of money like this, what is one special thing that you would buy for your mom or your grandma or that special person in your life? What is one special thing you would buy for them? And another thing I want you to do, I want you to make sure and tell them how thankful you are for them, what they do for you that you love so much, and just tell them how very much you love them on that special day, on Mother's Day, and any day for that reason. All right, I'll talk to you next week.